All right, so today we're reviewing for your chapter 15 test. All right, you probably don't need a reminder, but this is your last test before finals. Final exams, you guys know that they count as 2 test grades. Okay, so it does add a little bit of incentive to really prepare for those tests and to make sure you do well. All right, so this is our last test before finals. And I'm just going to kind of go through some similar problems to what you'll see on your test tomorrow. All right, so our first question, the directions will say something along the lines of find the square root or the square roots of the number. Square root or the square roots of the number. So go ahead and answer this question. All right, guys, what did you get for your answer? What'd you get for your answer? What'd y'all put? Tell me. No. Your answer is not 10. So is there a radical, the square root symbol, that's the radical, in the original problem? No. And when there's not, that means that the positive and negative version of the square root is your answer. Okay? So what? You said 10, though. Yeah, and if you only write 10 on your test tomorrow, that's not going to be correct either, okay? So yes, the positive, negative absolutely matters. All right, so what about the next one? What if I said the negative cubed root of 729 over 125? All right, go ahead and take that one. Guys, what is the cubed root of 729? It is 9. That's something that you have to have memorized. Okay? If you're relying on punching in a bunch of random numbers to see what equals 729, you might not have enough time to finish your test tomorrow. It's really going to take a lot of time. What is the cubed root of 125? It's 5. Now, you can leave this answer improper. That would be fine. Just don't forget to bring your negative over in your answer. All right, number 3. Okay, let's take the square root here. All right, Griffin, what's it going to be? Positive negative 9. Very good. All right, next question. I want you to evaluate these 2 expressions. Evaluate these 2 expressions. I believe you have 4 problems on your test tomorrow, similar to this. Is anybody struggling with 27,000? Okay. All right, what do you notice about the leading digits in that really big number? What number is it? It's 27. Okay, so what is the cubed root of 27? It is 3, okay? So you might be asking yourself now, though, well, I know that 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, but is it 30 times 30 times 30 or 300 times 300 times 300? How do I know what version of 3 it's going to be? Well, you know, you have to multiply that number times itself 3 times. And how many zeros does it need to end up with? It needs to end up with 3 zeros. So that's why 30 times 30 times 30, how many zeros are being multiplied here? 3 zeros. So that's how I know that 30 is my cubed root. Because it has to be that number times itself 3 times. Okay? But I'm not done yet. What do I need to do with the cubed root of 27,000? I need to now multiply it by 6. And 6 times 30 is 180. Okay? Now the next one's a little easier. We just want to avoid the error of not following order of operations. What do I need to do first here to solve? Y'all just tell me.
Just
Take the square root of 64. You need to show me this step. So on your test tomorrow, I'm going to say, show me all of your steps. Show me your work. Now what do? You multiply. You might be tempted to do 12 minus 2 and get 10, but it's 12 minus 16, which is negative 4. Okay, negative 4. How'd you guys do on those? All right, any questions? Okay, I'm trying to give you, the same difficulty level of what you would see on a test. Selah?
I know the lesson videos, they're on Google Classroom, but I couldn't find them.
You couldn't find which one? All of chapter 15? I can go back and look, but let me just go back and look and check on that. I am recording this test review right now. So if you guys want to go back tonight and watch it, you can. Okay? All right, let's go to number 6 now. All right. So I need you to solve this equation. Go ahead and solve this equation. X squared equals 25 over 36. What would be my step 1? What's my first step here in solving this problem? I need to square root. Very good. Now, if I square root one side, I have to square root the other side. And x would equal, I need to take the square root of top and bottom, and what will it be? 5 over 6. Now, why did I make it positive and negative? Okay, so square root, when I take the square root, it is also true that negative 5 over 6 times negative 5 over 6 would also equal positive 25 over 36. Anytime I take the square root, the positive and negative version of that answer is true. Okay, so probably we were at about half and half on the quiz. As far as if you remembered. So if you see a -2 on those questions when I give it back, that's probably what you forgot, is your positive negative in the equation. All right, go ahead and solve number 7 now. Jeffrey, what'd you do first?
I subtracted 4.
Very good.
From 196 and 4, and then I got 3x to the third power equals 192.
Very good. Chloe, what did you do next? Yep, what would you do next? Not the radical yet, but what I do? Yes, you would need to divide both sides by what? Yep, both sides by 3. Remember, guys, we always do the radical last. Okay? All right. Jonah, what would I do next? I need to solve for x. What would be my last step?
Find square root.
Not the square root, but the cubed root. Very good. So the cubed root, both sides. Okay. Now, what is the cubed root of 64? That's something that you're going to have memorized. It is 4. X equals 4. Now, my answer is not positive and negative when it's the cubed root, because a negative times itself 3 times would be a negative answer, which does not line up. Okay, so it's only positive negative when it's the square root. So don't do that when it's cubed root. Okay, all right, next question. I did my best on some of the drawings. The pyramid one, hopefully you can use your imagination and kind of figure it out. But all right, so here's your dimensions for this triangle. I need you to solve for the unknown side length. All right, now a lot of these questions on the review, you're going to need to round to the nearest 10th. On your test tomorrow, a lot of them could potentially work out to also be perfect squares. All right, Samantha, what number did you plug in for A?
6.
Okay, she plugged in a 6. That's what I did. What did you guys plug in for B? What y'all plug in for B?
Nothing.
You don't know B. Okay, so you can leave it x squared. Did anybody else write the B squared there? Did y'all write a B? That's totally fine. Okay, so either way, I would not count off for that. And then what did you plug in for C? 8. Okay, as long as you get 8 in the right spot, you should get the right answer. So we get 36 plus x squared equals 64. Subtract 36. Now, this is not a perfect square. So there's 2 things you can do here, and I'm going to talk about number 5 from your quiz at the end of this, okay? Because number 5 was not a perfect cube. There was a way you could solve it, but I ended up not counting it, all right? You know that 28 is very close to what perfect square? 25. It is very close to 25, and the square root of that is 5. I would prefer, in a problem like this, for you to approximate it and just say x is approximately 5, okay? The reason behind that is because one of the standards that you have to learn, okay, so Florida standards, we're talking about what all 7th graders are learning, is that you can approximate square roots. When you know it's not a perfect square, do you know which one it's closest to? So you're showing me that you understand that. Now, if you choose to write the full answer, okay, or to round it to the 10th, you would get approximately 5.3. All right, either answer would be correct. On your test tomorrow, they work out their perfect squares anyway, just because that was the focus for chapter 15. However, the directions would be very specific there, whether or not to round to the 10th or to the integer, which would be the perfect square. All right, next question. Here was the one that, listen, I tried. It's hard enough to do it on the iPad, let alone, I'm not an artistic person. Okay. It's a pyramid. You have to use your imagination. Okay? You have a couple questions on your test tomorrow that look like this. It's a pyramid. It's a pyramid. So if you decide, okay, this is a pyramid, I'm looking at a pyramid, it might look more like a pyramid. Okay? Well, don't say it looks like a kite, because then when you look at it, it will look like a kite. Say it looks like a pyramid. Now look at it and try to see the pyramid. Again, I'm no artist. Okay? I think it kind of does look like a pyramid. You guys are being haters. Okay? Can you solve for x? That's the important part. All right, do it. Do it. All right. Which side are you solving for, guys? You're solving for C. So it doesn't matter if you did 6 squared plus 3 squared or vice versa. When you add them together, you get 45. Now, here I still want to practice approximating. When you take the square root, is this a perfect square? No, but what perfect square is it closest to? 7. So you would say x is approximately 7 feet. Okay? Now, if you were to take the actual square root, what is it? 6.7? Now, notice, guys, 6.7 would round up to 7. Okay? So whatever the directions are asking you for, if they ask you for the 10th, you say 6.7. If they ask you for the integer, it's 7. But why is it 7? Because it's closest to the perfect square of 49 feet. It's not a kite. It's a pyramid. Yes.
If I actually wrote A equals or C equals instead of X equals.
I don't care. As long as it goes in the right spot on the formula. All right, good question. All right, next question. I was a little more lenient on the quiz than I planned to be for these questions. I am not looking for decimal values here to compare. I don't actually want you to find the cubed root of 60. And newsflash, you're not really going to have those tools on your test tomorrow either. What do I want you to do on these problems? Approximate them. That's such an important skill for you to learn for your grade level, okay? It's one of the really important standards that you're supposed to learn in the 7th grade. So the square root of 32, I know is not a perfect square, but I want you to approximate it to the closest perfect square and take the square root of that number. Same thing with the cubed root, and then compare them. Which one is bigger, which one is smaller? Okay, so Griffin, the square root of 32 was closest to what perfect square?
6.
Very good. 36, which is 6. Okay, so what I want you to do, and this is exactly how I wanted you to show on your quiz. I want you to approximate it to the perfect square and then take the square root of that number. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with the cubed root of 60. I know that's not a perfect cube. All right, but let's see. Jada, what perfect cube is it closest to? All right, didn't get that far, Jeffrey?
64.
64. What is the cubed root of 64, guys?
4.
It is 4. So based on this margin, I know that these answers are not exact. But based on this margin, it's pretty obvious that which number is bigger? The square root of 32. You must go back to the original format and write that answer as your final answer. All right, Jonah?
Is it okay if you put like the square root of 32 greater sign?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yep, that would be fine. I'm looking at one right now, and that's how they wrote it too. Okay, with the greater than sign and then cubed root of 60. All right, next question. Do these side links form a right triangle? Do these side links form a right triangle? All right, go ahead and solve that. Kimani, you want to walk me through how you plugged in your numbers here and how you got started on it?
I did 10 squared plus 12 squared equals 18 squared.
Okay. Now, I didn't write mine exactly how she wrote hers. Is that okay, though?
Yeah.
Okay? Because we both still have 18 squared on the other side. How did I know that 18 was going to be my C? Because it was not last. Y'all tell me. How did I know? Because it's the largest side link. So remember, don't go in order. Remember, your largest or your biggest number goes in for C. Now I can evaluate. 12 squared is 144 plus 100. Does that equal 324?
No.
Show me both totals. Go ahead and add. And then write a line through the equal sign if it's no. Okay? So that is on your test tomorrow. Yes.
Do we have to write now or can we just do that?
You need to write the word no.
Okay.
Yes. Okay? All right. Next question. I need you to classify these numbers.
Wait. She just put like 3 numbers in.
I just put 3 numbers up here. Numbers 12, 13, and 14 in the review. Okay, that was number 11 that we just did. I want you to classify these numbers. You have a section on your test, just like your quiz, where you're going to tell me, are they rational or irrational? But you can't stop there. You have to tell me, if it's rational, what kind of a number is it? Is it a terminating or a repeating decimal? Is it an integer? Is it a whole number? Okay, sometimes numbers have more than one category, and that's fine. You at least need to get one of the categories in order to get it correct. All right, so let's go ahead and answer these 3 questions. All right, the square root of 30. Selena, what did you say for that one? Was it rational or irrational? Why would you say it's irrational? Sort of. What is it, guys? It's not a perfect square. Okay, so it's square root. Okay, it's not a perfect square. So because it's not a perfect square, Selena is right that it will be non-terminating and non-repeating. But guys, every number that's not a perfect square, you don't need to put that in your calculator. Okay, if it is not a perfect square or a perfect cube, it will be irrational. That can be your reason. All right, there is no need to come up with a decimal value for that number, because I had some people come up with a decimal value and round it, and then they thought it was a terminating decimal because they rounded it. But it's not actually. It goes on. It does not terminate. It does not repeat. Okay, 8.4. What kind of number is that, guys? Y'all tell me. It is rational because it is a terminating decimal. It ends. It has an end point. 8.4. Square root of 169. Here's where I'll take two different answers. Okay. For starters, though, what kind of number is it? Rational or irrational?
Rational.
It is rational. If you say irrational, it's wrong. Okay. It is rational. There's two reasons why. Okay. Someone give me one reason. It is a perfect square. I know that all perfect squares are rational. What is the perfect square? I heard somebody already say it. 13, and 13 is an integer. It is also a whole number. I would accept any of those categories. So if you were to take the square root and say 13 is a whole number, that's perfect. Or that it was an integer, that's also perfect. All right? Okay, next problem. Oh, look at these guys. I remember this. All right, you've got 4 questions tomorrow. Yep. From chapter 14. Okay, so go ahead and do these 4 problems. We'll take about 3 or 4 minutes, go over these, and then we'll be done. Let's go over these problems. What did you get for number 15? Someone raise your hand and tell me. What did you get for number 15? So many volunteers all at once. Samantha. 40c to the 8th power. Perfect. What about number 16? What did you get when you reduced? When you reduced, Selah?
I got 4 over 3x.
Perfect. 4 over 3x to the 4th power. Because x ended up being negative, I can never have a negative power in my answer. That's perfect. What about 17? What about 17? Let me ask you this. Am I ready to add these?
Yes.
Am I ready? How do I know that I'm ready? Because I have common exponents, all right? So when I add them together, y'all just tell me, what did I get when I added them?
9 times 10.
Yeah, it's 9 times 10 to the 5th power. All right, last problem. Selena, bring us home.
Is it 12 times 10 to the 14th power?
Okay, so 2 mistakes here. She did get 12. What should we do with our powers? Y'all tell me. Add them. Times 10 to the 9th power. This is product of powers because I'm multiplying. This is product of powers and I must add my exponents. But this is not my final answer. Why?
Because 12's too big.
12's too big. Did you guys catch that?
No, just now.
All right. So what happens? Did anybody catch it? That 12 was too big? All right, so Kimani, what happens? What do I need to do to get my decimal value in the right place? What happens? Yes, move your decimal left, which bumps up my exponent by 1 power. Okay, and that's it. Good to go. All right, so that's everything you need to know for your test tomorrow.